pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Meeting will please come to order. We do have proof of posting in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code as amended, known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. At this time, any members of the public who wish to speak shall each have 5 minutes.
I'm Charles Morgan, a professional engineer in Texas, and I'd like to read you a letter I sent to Governor Greg Abbott back in September 21. Because there's no action that is really addressing the law that was amended, House Bill 1880. You know, our county attorney requested an opinion on that,
Yes.
and he did not address the problem. And so I sent a letter to Greg Abbott saying, we got a major issue. I have to read this, it's not one page here. We have such a bad problem in this county with so much noise with 130 gas compressor stations. And we've had 4 people not too far from me testicular cancer, and they had their testicles cut off. This kind of stuff. I've been to the hospital with brain damage 3 times. So it's a major issue in Freestone County. And with 130 gas compressor stations, that's a heck of a lot of noise we're not addressing. Dear Governor Abbott, we have an emergency situation caused by Attorney General Ken Paxton's issuance of opinion KP 0371. Our present county attorney requested an opinion as to whether noise from oil and gas operations was included in the amendment to House Bill 1818. House Bill 1818, item A of the bill amendment requires the Oil and Gas Division of the Commission, Federal Commission, to develop and publish an annual plan for each state fiscal year to use oil and gas monitoring and enforcement resources of the Commission strategically to ensure public safety and protect the environment. That's item A in that amendment to the law. The most important thing is always item A, but it's not addressed by the Attorney General. It's supposed to use oil and gas monitoring and enforcement resources of the Commission, the Road Commission, strategically to ensure public safety and protect the environment. Protecting public safety has been ignored in the House Bill 1818 opinion. This Attorney General opinion has been rescinded, must be rescinded immediately because the low frequency noise is killing our citizens. I briefed the Sunset Review Commission on the health hazards of the low frequency noise, and everyone knows that oil and gas operations are noisy due to gas compressor stations and pipelines. Hardly anyone knows the impact of low frequency noise on the human body. It is a whole body pathology because each of our body systems operate at a different low frequency. We must ensure that low frequency noise is controlled. This can be accomplished using sound barriers around the noisy equipment. The opinion noted above is not based on facts. It could have been known if the Attorney General Committee had reviewed the Sunset Review Commission presentations concerning oil and gas operations that were appropriate. There are 27 counties in Texas having more than 1,000 gas wells and an appropriate number of compressors. Based on numbers of gas wells in each county and its population, I estimate 2,614,000 people in those 27 counties are being harmed and are killed today. 8 in this county. Okay? Some of them live near me. Some of them moved out and came back and then died. 2 years later, anyway. Ms. Churchill. The Attorney General opinion issued allows oil and gas operations to continue emitting hazardous low frequency noise. House Bill 1818A requires the Railroad Commission to protect our citizens. The word noise is not used because other issues must be addressed, such as hazardous gas emissions, and there may be other issues to address. Everyone knows that oil and gas operations are noisy due to gas compressor stations and pipelines. Almost no one knows the health hazards of low-frequency noise. It is a move-to-tune issue. We must immediately take action to stop killing. At least 10 persons have been killed in Freestone County with its 3,000 gas wells and 130 gas compressor stations. I have personally been severely affected with brain damage and many strokes. The low-frequency noise must be controlled now. I did not get a response to this letter. No response from the governor's office. I've sent him letters before and not being addressed. So maybe we need to get a meeting with maybe not just this county, but other counties around here that have a tremendous number of gas wells and compressor stations, and go over and talk to the governor eye to eye. That's probably the only thing that's going to make a difference, because it's hidden in this opinion. They have usurped the governor's authority. The governor signed that law amendment. So we were supposed to be protected, and we're not being protected. So you might consider that and having a meeting with the governor. And I think he would, after what happened at that school setting over there, he was not told the truth about what was happening over there. And it sounded like the guys who could have protected those children just stood outside and did nothing. And he was really livid about that. Well, what about this?
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Anyone else? If not, we'll go to item number 1 to approve the minutes of the January 1st meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I say.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 2, budget transfers and amendments.
There is a budget amendment in there, Judge Grant, for senior services.
Budget amendment. It is for Fund 86, which is our special funds, and it is unanticipated funds received from Community National Bank, which is a donation. So we show that as revenue coming in and budgeted as other expense going out. Then we have budget line transfer items. There's 6 of those.
Motion that we approve budget transfers.
Second.
And will that include certification?
No.
Is that part of your motion?
Yes.
Yes, and your second?
Yes, ma'am.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 3 is to approve and pay bills.
$7,000 drug bill, is that the rate
After it's reduced to,
Yeah.
reduced
The
number.
indigent rate, yes.
I think we do have some questions about that, about, how we had talked about that. The drug bill that we have from Limestone County, it still runs about the same, is that right? So it's just been the ones that we've had, for someone that's in our jail here. We've talked about it and tried to see if we could address the situation, but have not been able to come up with a good solution.
For that specific individual?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, is it true that he has already been sentenced? I couldn't remember, that's what I was trying to remember.
You have to remind me the name, and I have to go back and look, Judge. I know
Yeah,
it's,
and we don't want to mention the name here.
yeah, I know we talked about it, and I forget if we have that case resolved or not.
If I remember correctly, it seems like there's one person that has already been sentenced to TDC, and I know that y'all have called numerous times to try to get them to come and pick them up,
That's right.
and they will not come. So, I don't know if they're saying they are out of beds, or what the situation is, but anyway, everybody has worked to try to get that done, and we've just not been able to get any response from the state. Am I right about that, what I'm saying? I think that's fair.
We're at the mercy of TDC. Well,
Yes.
Yeah.
when they want to take on that.
Yeah. But just wanted the taxpayers to know that, you know, we're all trying, it's a state, you know how you can work with them, which is not very good. Anything else y'all want to say from hearing about that?
I mean, there is several in there that's on that pharmacy bill that are high. And we used to pay $1,500 a month.
All right, then.
Don't want to give optimism when it may not turn out that way, but I think when they're paper ready, there could be some finagling about some reimbursement there as well.
There is, but not nearly like what we're spending.
No, ma'am. No,
We
ma'am.
can discuss it with them, but with, you know,
Yeah.
with response. But there has been some questions about the pharmacy bills themselves, about, and we might get with the sheriff's department and kind of talk about some of that. What happens to that medication whenever a person leaves? They don't take that with them, do they?
No.
No. So then what do y'all do with that? Just destroy it?
Destroy it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if you would, tell the sheriff, we need to visit a little bit about some of that pharmacy stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, anything else?
Where it's out of reason, this COP number, is that associated to individual debate?
Yes.
Yes, that's correct. COP stood for care of prisoners back when it was in that line item, so we
Okay.
kept that.
But the
as
number
COP.
to the right of it would identify the
That
person who we can't say their name because of a HIPAA violation.
But you can look and you can see how much went to
Well,
an
that's what I'm saying,
individual.
this one person right here
Yes,
has been to Scotland White.
yes, yes.
That number is, that is a person, that's the person.
That's what me stands out.
Yes. Yes, sir.
You need to get one.
He's trying to, obviously.
We got a transport club plus.
That's not here. Been transported a bunch.
I'm talking about taking down there.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, that's taken up.
We try to drop it
Officer,
off.
officer,
I'm talking about taking the hospital.
But then if you look back up, if you look up further up at the top, that one figure is, I guess what the question originally was about, $7,930 prescription.
That's.
And that's not broken down on that inmate. Isn't that correct?
Right. That's correct.
That's just the total
Yeah.
amount.
To the left. Yeah, that's a week right there on that one person. 7 days.
We don't know how much of that $7,930 prescriptions goes to that one individual, but anyway.
It's
there's
not that,
questions.
yeah, there's several in there that go
code. All right. Anything else, any other discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve pay bills.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries. We did vote on that, didn't we? Item number 4 is to approve the payroll.
I have a question about, what does docked mean on, docked employee? What does that mean?
So when they are a current employee, they just don't have enough time on the books, to make up the payroll. Say like they worked, 60 hours, took 20 off, but they don't have enough sick, vacation, comp to cover that, then we dock them whatever that amount is.
Okay, so over here where it says the amount that's docked, is that what's docked?
No,
Or is that what they're getting paid?
That's what they're getting paid now. We do a sheet that shows their payroll amount versus the hours that they didn't have to complete it, and that gives them their new amount.
So, it's kind of misleading to say that they were docked that amount. And they're not actually getting docked that
Well,
amount.
what
So
was-
if we basically, what you should, instead of saying docked, it might be better to say leave without pay or something. Some other saying beside docked. Because you're actually, doesn't have the time, so it'd be leave without pay. Whatever. But anyway, I've always been confused about that because it says dock, and they'll give a number over here, and I'm not sure if that's what they're being docked, or if that's, I have no idea.
What their paycheck is after they're docked, that's the net.
That's what their pay is after the.
So we're just showing the difference of the payroll of what their
Yeah, you
normal,
can see their
if
total.
anything different.
Looking back.
But I can change that to leave without pay, that's not a problem.
Just didn't know.
Could you put another little, would it be easier just to put another little, section in there and say, normal salary, or regular salary, and then the docked part would be,
Yeah.
after you leave, the docked is okay. Any discussion on the payroll? There's no other discussion on the payroll, do we have a motion?
I like that motion.
Second.
And the motion is to approve the
I
payroll.
vote yes, ma'am.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposed, none, motion carried. Item number 5 is reports. That's the high sheriff right there. We have an auditor's report for May. And then we have the treasurer's report, which is based on that. For May. Treasurer's report. And we sign it because this is going to be put on the website. You have a report from the extension office. A May report from JP 2. district clerk. JP Reed. The tax office remain. Senior services, Form A. I need that investment report back, we signed it. Treasurer's investment report. Controller signed it. Did it go all the way around already?
Just give it to Jeannie.
Jeannie, all right, Jeannie, you can get it to her then. Got a letter from the Emergency Management Office. Leonard, would you just like to talk about it, whether you read this letter?
Sure. So I just did a little report kind of updating all of you since what I've done since October. We did an exercise, pin to flood. We've talked about it in the past. We go out, locate a spot that potentially has a flood hazard, drop a pin, and it auto-populates the flood area. We have the potential possibly to use it. They'll release it to us in September of this year to use it, maybe to do floodplain maps or assist in something in that nature with that. The other thing, we are getting a new repeater and 4 new voters in the county to upgrade some of the communications for radios and stuff. They were supposed to have been done back in February, but they've been delayed on getting parts and getting the shipments and stuff, so I'm still waiting on an install date for all of those. HotCog had a regional grant that they applied for, and I put in for 2 new dispatch consoles in that grant, and that's $100,000 for those 2 consoles. That wouldn't be any cost to us if it is approved. So, hazard mitigation plan or our emergency plan for the county. We have 4 sections of it expiring this December. I've been working on that. I've got 3 of the 4 done. Still waiting on, or still finishing up on the 4th one. Once it's all done, then I have to go out and get signatures from the county mayor, or the city mayors and Judge Grant for approval. That's what we want to follow or make adjustments to it before sending it to FEMA for approval. So, then the last thing on here, end of last month and first part of this month, though, I attended the Texas Department of Emergency Management Conference down in San Antonio. I took several different classes, and I learned a lot that I didn't know prior to that. Some of it being how we can go about assessing county roads or different things like that for damage after a bad rainstorm or something like that. And then also the hazard mitigation grants. We can use it for infrastructure, as in repairing bridges that need to be repaired, let's say within the next 5 years. We could possibly apply for this grant to help with some of the cost on that end to get those repaired to upgrade our infrastructure. And then on the damage assessment part, one of the things that I learned on it is if we have a severe enough storm that we take a lot of damage to several county roads or county property or anything like that, we need to try to get pictures and different things like that so that we can prove that this was damaged if we wanted to go that route of applying for funds to assist in repairs or anything like that.
And that is through,
So if we went that route, we'd have to meet our county threshold, expense.
We're
And
very
then,
well aware of how that works.
Yes.
Is that FEMA stuff though?
yes, it could be FEMA unless it doesn't meet the state threshold, then it would be state, would take care of it from there.
Well, hopefully you can help us with this better than we've ever been able to do before, but, we have worked on it, and got pictures, and, I don't know what all, and then we didn't get any money,
Yes, ma'am.
because we didn't meet the threshold, so
Yes, ma'am.
it's a lot of work.
Yes, ma'am.
But we'll see, maybe the next one will be better. And now I want to go back, if you don't mind, to the M2 flood exercise.
Yes, ma'am.
What area does that reach whenever you drop that pin?
So it's designed to, when you drop that pin, it's designed to set up, or not set up, but populate for, based off of the closest waterway near it. So if you drop it, let's say you're half a mile in from that closest waterway, and that's where the water level is, you drop the pin and it'll auto-populate based on, not on topography, but based on where the, what the National Weather Service has for that waterway depth. And then based off of that, to that point, it'll auto-populate however much they believe it will be flooded from where you drop that pin.
We have floodplain maps,
Yes, ma'am.
which are probably the oldest thing that has ever been platted, I think. If you've ever looked at those.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, we had those that you could fold out, it was before computers, that you could fold, before we could search like we did now, but it fold out, and then you have to try to, and they've never updated them.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
keep saying that we're gonna get updated, but they haven't, so there's not a way that we could ourselves do a map, is there?
So we could,
Based on what you're saying,
with this app, we could take
sections maybe?
sections of it, yes, ma'am. Drop the pins in those areas that we believe may flood or have flooded in the past. Then we can take that information to HotCog, to Sarah Wines, the GIS coordinator over there, and she might be able to overlay that flood area on her maps.
Okay.
And that'd be a way we could update it from there.
How accurate, I've got an app called MapRight, which puts text flat and shows your elevations, how accurate are those flood, because it shows floodplain on there.
Yeah.
I just wondered how accurate those are.
That
Those apps, you know, you get, you know,
Right,
it's supposed
right.
to be a FEMA floodplain overlay on that.
So I'm gonna, if it's the FEMA overlay on it, it's gonna be whatever they have of the most current and updated, data that they
And I
have.
think that's
So if
probably
it's
why
been-
those hot cog maps.
Right,
too.
so if it's been 10 years since they've been here and done something, so then it's a 10-year-old map.
Yeah.
You know, adding concrete to one area can change the
Sure.
way that water flows and floods.
Yeah.
So, so just,
I was just curious, so,
Yes, sir.
with
Yes, sir.
you know, because we go by that a bunch, and I
Yes,
look
sir.
at it all the time, because it's, and I just wondered how accurate it really was.
yes, sir.
You could look on the National Floodplain, Insurance Program and kind of compare it to
Yeah.
what's on there.
Yeah, there might be good balance checks, yeah.
But the one that they have on there is the one that is so very old.
Oh,
Then you can see the other, that one's old too. All right, that was my only thought, is if we could get something a little more current, you know,
Yes, ma'am.
we might work on that from time to time. And see,
Okay.
just kind of systematically start doing it ourselves. We'll talk about it, okay? Thank you. All right, we still are in reports. Sheriff, would you like to say anything this morning?
Oh, we got a lot to say. We got finally getting our air conditioner put on this morning. They're waiting on the crane to come in, so we've been waiting 3 weeks for that and trying to make to do, keep as many here as we could while dealing with that. But, so that should be getting done today. Other than that, we still got a lot of issues in there that we can't get anybody working there. So I've made phone calls with people that are supposed to do our shower, twice, and it's talked to them once, so 3 times, and still no action, nobody here. So, just can't get anybody working that jail.
have a list of things that need to get
Yeah, I have a big list.
done. Yeah.
But, I mean, I can only do so much. And if I can't get them to come and do work, then we're kind of stuck in the water.
Did you get the outside cage? Did anybody?
I got one, I got another, I got one bid, and then I got another bid that's coming.
I wonder if we went out for bids on something, on some of that. And advertise, maybe somebody would reply.
Any feedback on what their issue is and not showing up?
Well, they worked in there before, they don't want to again. I mean, that's part of it. But the other thing is, we're running into bonding and licensing issues with some of the people that want to do it, and they're not willing to go get just that just to work on that one building at that time, so.
Yeah.
Must be a lot of money, I don't know how much it is, but they act like it's quite a bit of money just to come and do this one, job one time. I assured them that it'd be more than one. But,
Thank you.
And
I
know
had
there's-
to for a handyman for the jail. Find one of these jack of all trades and then contract him.
I can't work under somebody else as far as Monday.
yes, and that's one of the things we tried to get
Like
them to
DJ?
do, and they hadn't done that yet, so.
Like DJ. He set up, 7-9, all that.
I think we have plenty of vendors
Yeah.
that would do that. It's still just finding that one person. I know I sent Jeremy's phone number, called the guy, and he was supposed to come do it. He backed out on him too,
I mean, it's kind of a tough building to work in considering it's all concrete. I mean, it's a complete concrete and metal. So when it's not just like going to one of our houses where you take off sheetrock and put it back up. It's a whole different ballgame in there. And so I think that's one of the things that scares them away. And then did y'all get y'all's answer that you were looking for I know the
Not
medical
exactly.
bills?
I think we need to probably sit down and visit about that maybe. The issue was, with the medications. And-
Well, it just had went up so much. I mean, that was just the only thing. It just went up from like 2,000 to 7,000 in a month. You know, we paid $200 or $300 at Limestone County for 1 month with 12 inmates. And I know there's more than that, but it just,
It depends on the medication and who we got, and Falls County only takes certain inmates, so we gotta keep them inmates here, and Limestone's medical's been full, so all our big medicals have stayed here. So there's your increase. Plus, we've got a couple in there that need to go, and the state will not take them.
We've been talking about that this morning.
We've made 5 phone calls at minimum, just on one person in there. They will not come get him. We're trying, but we don't want him either.
Oh, I know,
So,
I know.
People being like that in our jail, that's an even bigger headache than just having them in there, period. So when we gotta really take care of them like that, it's a manpower issue and a county budget issue as well. So we've done our due diligence trying to get them out, we're just waiting on the state to take them. And I'm not sure what that issue is, because a lot of times we'll have people come in and they're not here a month or two and they're gone. Well, they should have took this one first. He's been here for 3-4 months. I don't know what the problem is. Just they pick and choose, I guess, and they also know how much we're spending on him.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Now, they will reimburse that because he is state paper ready.
Will they reimburse the medical?
Yes, after being state ready and on paper, they will reimburse for that individual.
we don't add up each inmate and how much it costs. They give us certain per day or whatever, but they
They
don't
do
like.
it per day, something like $45.
Yeah,
it used to
it's
be.
something that they give per
But
day.
you're saying they don't reimburse
No, because we don't give those bills out.
We
don't-
do.
We don't add those bills up. They only get a certain per
Why
day.
are we not doing that when they can reimburse us?
I have no idea. I mean, Sheena's, I don't do that part of it.
Sheena says she's been doing it.
Do
So
you
we'll get
remember ever
reimbursed
getting
on
any
that.
money come in on inmate
Medical.
medical? I don't remember.
Not just called inmate medical, I don't know what it would be listed under. If it was
We'll look
listed
into
under
that,
something else,
remind me after court, we'll look into that. Okay. All right.
45 a day ain't enough.
I don't know, I think it's more than that.
It may have gone up, that was the
Yeah, I
last
think it's
time.
about 60,
Oh, yeah.
I think.
I figure it, so it's about 40. Well, it was in the 40s, but I do figure that, so, for her.
Okay. Anyway, it's not enough to cover all the expenses, unless
No.
we are getting reimbursement, we need to look into that medical. All right, do we have a motion to accept the reports?
I'll make a motion, so.
So,
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item 6, burn ban, we do not have a burn ban in place.
Not right now.
I said, I haven't got any calls.
I wouldn't right now.
I wouldn't.
We haven't had too many fires in the county, yet. We've had a couple, but nothing,
Yeah.
I mean, they've been acre or so, nothing big, just little things.
We'll be
What
talking
was
about that next
the
time.
one yesterday by the lake? Do you know about that
So,
one?
yeah, so they had, I'm not sure what it was, they had someone driving through that area, and it started a bunch of them starting to Barry County all the way into,
287?
They're thinking they were dragging a chain and it was
Yeah, that's-
sparking.
Oh.
that's what I'm thinking it was.
Yeah.
It just made several different fires along 287 out there.
I knew they had some mutual aid, Southern Oaks had mutual aid from Streetman.
Yes, and then
Helped
they
for
left,
so many different
and then
ones.
they left and went and helped Richland Chambers in the Barry County.
And then Monday, did y'all have a water rescue Monday?
We had one Monday and Saturday. We had one out at the Fairfield Lake, boat sunk out there, and same thing at the Richland Chambers, had one sink out there as well.
All right, item number 7 is special road use agreements. Does anyone have one?
No, it's under
Is it on down
The
there?
next one.
Okay.
number 11.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. No special road use agreements. Go to item number 8 to approve the bonds and education certificates. We have a cybersecurity for Jamie Myers. And same thing. For Melissa. For Tammy. Laverne. Pamela Jones. Alicia Davis. All in the county clerk's office. Do we have any more? If not, do we have a motion to accept?
I'll make that motion.
I say.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 9 is the Freestone Central Appraisal District operating budget and annual financial report. And that was just for your review. If you have any questions about that? Not from action, we go on to item number 10, which is TAC health and employee benefits pool renewal rates for fiscal year 23. I know there was discussion about possibly seeing if they could lower our rates, and one of the county judges had written a letter trying to get that done for their county, and they responded to them that they did not negotiate on these rates. So, do we have a motion to continue with TAC at the new rate that they have provided to us? to stay with the marketplace, same plan. So the employees have an option as to what plan that they want to take.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed, none, motion carried. Item number 11 is the delivery of electric utility services. And we invested with Brian, I invested with Brian over the utilities code. Would you like to talk about that just a little bit for us?
Judge, me and you talked about utilities code. It's actually in 181, and I don't know what the situation, I don't know the details of the situation of what we're looking at, but just in general, I don't believe there's anything we can do from keeping a utility company from going along a county road in the right of way, anything of that nature. I mean, that summarizes it. I mean, I can get into details of which code section it is, but it blankly says that they have the right to construct, maintain, operate lines over, under, across, on, or along a state highway, a county road, and they get into municipalities and things like that. There is a notice requirement, which I'm assuming we have since we were discussing it. And it's, I don't know how much in the weeds, y'all 5 and me want to get into it. There's a way that you can maybe be able to talk with them and designate
Yes.
where along that right of way it can go, but I don't think there's any way to say, hey, it can't go along this right of way. You're going to find some other way to go.
This all started, what this particular issue is on County Road 431, and it's a double-edged sword. There's people that have bought property out there that want electricity. People out there that don't want any more power, want any further down the road, they don't want more neighbors.
But they won't convey these, in other words.
And they will not
Or
convey
they're
these.
trying to stop it?
They're trying to stop it.
I met with Encore, Mr. Winchester is here with Encore. I met with them and a landman who had done some tile and looking at ownership going to the middle of the road because that road is not dedicated to the county. So anyway, I agree. I mean, I don't blame people for wanting electricity. I personally don't want any more traffic on that road. You know, it turns into gravel where the electricity stops, and it's going to be a headache from now on and stuff like that. We did talk about if they have the right through the Public Utilities Act to run power out there, as far as the right of way itself and maintaining the right of way of trees. So it's going to be a huge expense to them, no expense to the county. It's going to remove a lot of trees, especially on property where people do give them an easement. But for now, what they can legally do is put those poles on the fence line. And I mean, that's where we are. That's why after meeting with them, Mr. Winchester and Encore, they sent what they showed to be, them give them the authority, and then that's what Judge granted. Mr. Evans had read, and that's what they come up with.
And clear the brush and the trees is not it. I mean, that's part of it, I guess.
So, yeah, of course, Encore has their own deals that they won't construct until that's removed, so, I think a portion of what y'all have to clear, somebody's gonna do at their own expense, and then y'all are gonna take it from there.
The right of way is actually being cleared by a third party that has agreed to do it for this group of people that are wanting the power. On the section that is in question on property ownership and did not want us there, we're going to have our own contractors clear so that we make sure we're staying in the road right away and are cleared.
Yeah. And my big still was,
That's what I was curious, that to get that touch.
I didn't want any trees cut in a V where there's a line cut and there's still a limb hanging over the county road, and they're gonna cut it, and they said that they would take the trees down, fence post high. Yeah. Well, I don't want to stump, because it's a gravel road, and I'm blade to catch it, so fence post high would be better, I think, for us. So I don't guess we're taking any action. Main thing I wanted was transparency. I wanted the public to know that this is something that we didn't come up with, and as far as we know, we can't stop this from happening. So this was more about just being transparent with any taxpayers, and it makes you stop and think when you purchase something, what this Public Utilities Act can either help you or hurt you.
This act, does it also cover, phone service, water lines, any kind of,
Well, on those, they do have some regulations about, like, if it's buried, it has to be a certain
I
length.
understand, yeah, but I mean, as far as being in the right of way.
I couldn't speak to all those utilities, but there are different sections within that 181 that cover telephone lines and electric lines, gas lines. I'm assuming there's, I didn't look at it, but I'm assuming there's water and those type of subsections within 181. Assuming.
This 181.042 is just electrical. I looked it up and started reading 480-something pages.
And each one of those has separate little requirements and restrictions and whatever.
Yeah, they kind of separate it out, so, there starts off, I think, with a gas line section, then goes to the electrical line section, and then it kind of keeps on going.
And I didn't read all those, I just
You
went
can
through.
read 480.
No, but I can print it out for you if you want to read it. Oh, I can read
Just
it.
ask the question.
If it comes up, we'll read that section, yeah. All right, just for information this morning. Thank you for being here. We'll go to item number 12, Silver County Joint Committee Retirement Medical Supplement. We do currently provide a supplement to retirees if they meet the qualifications that are that have been approved. And they have, it's no increase, is that correct?
That's correct.
No increase. We could choose to add different things to it, but all that we've ever paid and that has been approved has been this supplement. People, when they retire, they're on Medicare, so this helps them with the supplement, which is not paid. Otherwise,
There's currently 15 on there.
15 on it.
And we can review with no cost to the county.
No additional cost.
Additional cost.
No additional cost. It was $261 last year, it's $261 this year. So,
We have a motion to renew at the current fee from a current employee, a retiree. All in favor, aye? Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, we'll go to 13, which is considered bid list for fiscal year 2023 contracts. Ms. Karen.
okay, I've provided the commissioners with a list. And so there's 3 of them that, we always go over the 50,000 that I already have checked.
That's the red check.
That's the red checks. And so then the rest of them, they can decide if they want to bid those out or wait till they get close to the 50,000. However they want to handle those, all of those others. We're fine, and those amounts are from the beginning of October to now. So far, we're fine on all of them. I'm watching some of them kind of close, but we're doing okay. But
Any besides those 3? The 3 that are checked with the red check, we do have to come out for bids on, so we're always.
And that was another, well, we'll talk about that when we get down there, but ARP is, or Frameworks is waiting for today, so they're gonna bid out for us, for the roads for next year and now.
On the,
What we need to go,
Well, we're not gonna be, looks like we're not gonna be over the amount that's required to be bid. Do you want to go out for bids for it?
we just still just off it, but,
that's what
they go off in price,
Yeah, and if we,
from last year.
I don't want to be forced to use
I mean, we stopped
somebody
in the
when we
middle
can
of.
shop right now.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah.
I mean,
They deliver for nothing.
yeah, I bought one from Scrapyard the other day. Cut it in half, saved $9,000.
Yeah.
So then, based on that, and then the shop around, we don't
It's
want to
very
bid it out because
important.
we can
And
get
the, you
better
know, the
price.
technology on some of this blading, they've got some culverts that, load, yes, is more than the galvanized culverts that we get from Wilson, which take a long time to get, and like Andy said, they way up in price. So actually, the black plastic is getting cheaper.
On the HVAC and the electrical, is that, this countywide, that's every office, that's what we spent this year? So we can still use, that's nothing that we've, went up for bid on?
Now, HVAC, we normally do, last year we didn't, you know, we just went with who we had, that's who we called. But it's just up to y'all whether you want to bid that out or not.
This is not like a leak coming in, doing our filter maintenance monthly and all that.
Exactly, that's what it is. I mean, and they do their per hour.
This is a maintenance contract,
Yes.
so this is not like a new install when the sheriff's department needs it.
No, we bid those out, like if we do or
We'll get
three quotes.
three prices.
So we've spent $20,000 just on maintenance this year.
That it does include if we put a new one in there.
It does.
So, yeah. That includes even the quarterly filter changes and all. And that's the thing, we're not, they can charge us whatever they want to. Now, if we're not in a contract with them, they did go up last year from the year before. So, because that's what we're actually bidding out is the quarterly filter changes and so. And the hourly, what they charge per hour.
So right now, we can go out for bid on it, but we're not required to.
Right. We're just pay whatever he charges us for the filter changes for the following year, or whoever.
Any other discussion on that? So our bid list will be the three that have the red checks. Is that a motion?
That's a motion. I'll make. Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor, aye? Motion carried. You know, if it looks like, as we go along, if something happens and it looks like we're getting close to that, we'll have to come back and get it approved to go out for bids then. But 514 is Lakewood Edition replat of 2 lots. And we do have the final plat, and I believe we have
All the,
everything needed to get this done.
everything's there, we're on the railroad. So I'll make a motion that we, replat lots 99W and 99E to a final plat lots 99W1 and 99E1.
That's a motion, do we have a
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 15 is to discuss the sick leave pool. All right. On the sick leave pool, we have one elected official, the sheriff or representative, the courthouse representative, or the bridge representative, and then the meeting administrator. The elected official has been Clyde Ridge. Will you continue?
No, ma'am, I think it's time for somebody new to take that position.
Somebody
It's
new.
very important that you be
Conscientious about what you do.
Yeah, you probably really need some new blood in there, so when it comes time to nominate somebody, I'll be glad to nominate somebody.
Let me ask you, have you had to do anything?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
How many times?
I'm not sure.
Don't scare our new people off.
I'm not sure how many, I'm not sure that's probably some kind of violation if I said that, but I have had to do some things.
Not much, it's not a bad job, so who would
Probably
volunteer?
not, that's probably not a bad job, but
Who would volunteer? I don't think we've had very many going through the years.
Back up was,
All this,
It says elected officials, there's a lot of elected officials.
There are a lot of elected officials. Let me
Yes.
see, we do have several new elected officials, as a matter of fact, but
does it state who has to be on there? Does it has to be?
it says you have to be on.
No,
there.
it says commission. I have another duty that needs to be given up to.
Oh, we'll talk about that in a little
Yes, ma'am, we
later
will.
date. Okay. If someone fills out an application, then they have a meeting, and they discuss, the committee discusses whether or not it qualifies. We have specific directions as to what it can be used for. So do we have a volunteer? That would be just so nice.
How many people are on that? Well, there's several people that are on
There's
this now.
gonna be several.
We
yeah,
have several.
there's not even women's anymore.
That's correct.
There's several of them that are missing now.
That's right, we're talking about things.
We have two initiatives.
So what about an elected official? Elected official.
Dan Walsh will make it real good. Get close in.
It's pretty new. Yeah. Would you agree to be on that committee?
Yes.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
If one comes up, we'll read the requirements. But now that you have it, you're not on it, you really haven't had to do much, have you, in the years that you've done it? Let me say, we've not had many people that have applied for a long time.
We've had one in the last 2 years.
So, all right, now from the sheriff's department. Mary has been on this committee. Will she continue or? Yes.
Whatever committee it is, yeah.
All right. Courthouse representative, we are going to need a person. Courthouse representative. Just anyone that works in the courthouse, and doesn't have to be courthouse, it could be annexes also. Everybody looks down there, I'm gonna draw attention.
Nobody here to, I guess what I'm saying, we can nominate somebody, right?
You can. Would you like to be on that committee?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. How about as courthouse representative?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Road and Bridge.
Jack gone. He retired.
You and Jack, did y'all ever discuss any of that stuff?
I don't think Jack, he might have met one time.
Yeah, he's been with me before.
One or two times in 7 years.
Yeah.
That's all we met.
You got anybody over there? Put together now.
It could be a commissioner.
No. Yeah, good.
It could.
Yeah, good.
It could be a new commissioner.
Do we need to nominate a commissioner? I nominate Will McSwain.
Thought I'd dodge this bullet up. I'll put my name.
All right, thank you.
So I'm not gonna put one of my hands down, but I thought, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it very much.
Talk to mine.
What are friends for?
Oh, yeah.
All right, we need a committee administrator.
In the past, that's been somebody in my office, me or somebody in my office, because that person is the only one that can know who it is. And because we handle, who it is and has requested it and the information with payroll.
So are you willing to do that?
Over my clerk right now, yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Appreciate it, Jeannie, for you volunteering. All right, do we have a motion to appoint these as our committee?
I'll make it. Second.
All in favor, aye. Thank you, thank you. And probably we'll just wait, if somebody gets one, then usually would you have a committee meeting and then talk about the requirements and all that? There's no need to until we get one.
Well, and what I'll do is, we have a list of all the policy for it type
Right.
thing, and so I'll go ahead and get that together and get it to the people, so they have time to look over it and see what it says.
You probably could just wait, because if it's
Okay.
another 4 or 5 years,
Okay.
they won't even, if they're like me, they won't probably want to read it until the time comes.
Okay.
Item number 16, select the salary grievance committee. Now, after the budget is set, then, notices are sent out to the elected officials as to what the salary is proposed to be. And that is the time that we might have a salary grievance committee meeting. We haven't had one in quite a while, but we go ahead and draw those names so we have our committee seat. And then you will send out letters to see if they will agree to serve.
Right.
So if you have those, we will draw those names now.
I do.
And now, we're talking about the salary grievance committee. We can go ahead and decide and establish who is gonna be on that committee. There are 2 ways you can do it, and you can either have elected officials, there's a list of those, and then 3 people that have their names drawn. Or you can do it all with public people, the whole 9. Now, these names are drawn from the list of grand jury members. So let's first decide then which way we are going to structure our committee.
I would like to see it through the elected officials
And 3,
And then draw 3 people from the grand jury pool.
is that a motion?
That's my motion.
All right, is there a second? All in favor? Aye. All right, that gives a little relief to the public members, you know. All right, you have those names?
That's who they are?
All right, you want me to draw?
Yeah. Good.
You're gonna make the names. We're gonna put them in order. All right, the first one is Valerie Bales.
Yes.
Okay? The second one? Yes, stay with us a minute. Joseph Richardson. That'll be fine. Danny Williams. And you put the numbers down as they're drawn, right?
I guess we should.
Because we'll contact those first and then we'll go in as needed. Veronica Miller. Vivian Shield. Penny Reed. That is 3, that's 6. If someone refuses, then the next one moves up.
Right.
You think we need to draw more than that? All right. We'll put these back in the, now I'm gonna give you these names, just so we know where we are. Do we have a motion to appoint these to the committee?
I'll make it motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. All right, I see that we have our district judge-elect that has just come in. Good morning,
Good morning.
and congratulations.
Thank you.
Is there anything you would like to say? You can just come up and talk to us a minute.
Well, I'll just come up and just introduce myself to anybody that hasn't met me. But I'm Amy Thomas Ward, and thank heavens the forever campaign is over. I was elected as the 87th Judicial District Judge. I will begin the seat on January 1st. I'm going to be working the next 6 months to close up my 30-year law practice, and also try to visit with Judge Evans and maybe some other district judges to get acclimated to what happens behind the bench, as I've been in front of it for 30 years. But I thank everybody for their support. Thank you, Judge Grant.
Sure, sure. Thank you for coming by.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we'll go to item number 17, Grant Works. They did open up, the Treasury opened up the application or submission process to where we could request our funds, our second tranche of funds. We have not, we got confirmation that we were signed up, but we haven't gotten notice yet as to when the funds will come. We're expecting them to be very soon. And so that's where we are on those. Now, item number 18, budget goals. This year, we're going to have some real challenges with our salary questions, considering that our inflation rate is up, costs are going up, and how we can help to protect our, or help our employees to be able to function under this new administration. So I'd like for everybody to be thinking about that. I think we know that we're going to have to raise salaries. We, a couple of years ago, had raised the lower salaries because at $300 a month for each one of those. But I think we're going to be looking at all of our employees needing a raise, a good raise this time. At least that's my thought. So I hope that you'll be thinking about that, and so we can make that decision pretty early on. It certainly helps our budget process if we will get that part of it settled. Whether it's going to be a percentage or what mechanism that we are going to do. But I think that's going to be one of our biggest challenges. And then, you know, we've had a lot of emergency things that have happened in the last year or two with the COVID, with the ice storms, with so many other things that have happened. And, you know, a lot of the things that we had thought we were going to have to spend funds on are going to be covered, and we'll be able to address those with those ARC funds. But we may have to make a little adjustments in our budget so that we can, whatever we can cover with ARC funds, will give us a little leeway maybe on our budget to help in other areas that the ARC funds won't reach. But, you know, we're helping with the ambulance situations and with hopefully getting more cars from the Sheriff's Department. If the cars ever are made and we can ever get them, I don't think we've even got the ones budgeted for
Never even
this
got our
year.
last two, and we're almost at 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, we bought them in the budget prior to the last budget. So, and we're still waiting. Chief calls them about every couple months to check, see where they're at.
Yeah. So the issue is not with us, it's with anything available. But if you tried to buy a vehicle anytime in you know what the situation is. You know, another thing, talking about the ARC funds again, we have chosen to buy the generators, advertise and buy the generators that we, at the sizes that we need, rather than having to go out for RFP for an engineer to engineer all of this stuff. But with that in mind, we'll have to go out for bids for the generators through the ARC, but we're going to assume that's expense of installing them.
Is it included?
If there's, what's not included, if there's anything that's not included within that bid of the generators. But there's going to be a lot of things there, so I want you to be thinking about those things, and especially salaries as we're going into our budget time because we're here. Any comments from anyone else?
Well, I appreciate you pointing that out in the very beginning, because we are in a huge inflation, got a huge inflation issue, and last I checked, last night or night before, it was up to 8.9%, the new numbers coming in.
Yeah.
And it's just getting worse. Last I saw also, they're projecting which fuel for commissioners, fuel for our office is gonna be a major deal because they're looking at possibly $8 a gallon by the end of August. And, man, whatever vehicle allowance that the elected officials are getting, and it's gone already. Because they never budgeted double the amount of gas that they're putting in now. So a lot of things are gonna be expensive, you know, and that's how we get around this county is fuel and then, you know, our products and supplies, auditor's office, treasurer's office, everybody's products and supplies are going up.
You know, and already it's just like the air conditioners, like everything. We can't get parts, we can't get things. So we're in a mess, but thank you. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All back around. Thank you.